been in business, own your own business. Any entrepreneurs in the room? We'll get a couple. Okay. Anybody worked in business? Any marketing people? Anybody ever do marketing? Anybody really good with Facebook? I'm totally not. Naomi knows. I really. Part of my mindfulness journey is I was not on any social media for the majority of my life. Okay, the majority of my life, meaning when I was, so I graduated college just as Facebook was becoming a thing, okay? So it was just after I went through 4 years of university or college that Facebook came out, okay? So when I left high school, I was like, peace out, see you suckers. And I didn't talk to anybody. I had really no plans in going back to that place. Okay, there were a couple people I talked to, but you know how I stayed in touch with them? I had their house phone number, okay? And you know what we did? We met up sometimes in person, and we stayed friends that way. We spent time together. So there's a lot to my story, which I'm going to get into a little bit, but the reason why this slide is here is to remind me to tell you, especially for you who are entrepreneurs who have a business, that I painstakingly built this business, and it started at the end of 2019. Okay, I'm going to share this, but first, I had this slide up here, thank you, George, to remember to tell people I built a website. It's called GraceRevealedLLC.com. I painstakingly went through business training. I read books for years, for 3 years straight. I worked in commercial architecture. I went to school for interior design to do paint and walls and just designing buildings. I went into commercial architecture for 20 years. I quit all of that, sold my house, left where I grew up, everything I've ever known in central New York to move down here. I had a ticket to, anybody know Rachel Hollis, Girl Wash Your Face? Okay, she wrote a book called Girl Wash Your Face. All right, she is, she's pretty known for strong female lead personality, but she's also known for being fearlessly authentic. Take it or leave it. She's not for everybody. I actually, not even a big fan of hers anymore. But her and her husband created a business training conference in Charleston. And it really changed the course of my life. I was faced with the question of, do you want to be someone who you think you're going to make money being? Like, do I want to make money? Like, I'm good at design, okay? I do design on the side to pay my bills because I'm good at it. I love interior design. But what I was faced with is, do I want to be something that I'm good at or be who I really am? Do I want to be who I thrive and feel alive? I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a fire inside me when I get to speak and share, because I'm hoping that all the shenanigans I dragged myself through and some of the hardships I went through will give you hope. That will be a tool that you're like, I can try that. My life is going to be better because she was willing to share her story. So they took me through this gruesome process. I wept, I'll never forget. I was in Charleston at this business training conference. You had to own a business to be there. So I painstakingly got my business on the books. I didn't even know what it was going to be. And I thought, I'm going to design. I guess I'll have my own interior design business or something. And Grace Revealed, that could be design. But I really felt like I wanted to do workshops. I just wanted to speak. I wanted to let my story be heard so that lives would change. So this slide exists because we have a LinkedIn page. We do have a Facebook page, which is how this was advertised, right? We had a Facebook event. Again, I'm still learning, and I get a lot of help from friends because I'm new to Facebook. I was on Facebook just to stay in touch with friends because I heard you could actually like contact people through it. And some of my friends that are in their 70s and 80s helped me get onto Facebook. Okay? So I'm maybe a couple years into Facebook. I don't really know how to do it. People ask me if I saw their pictures from something on their feed. I don't even know what that means. I hear feed and I want to eat something. So, okay? I don't get Facebook. I don't understand it. I'm shameless about it. And when I do post something on the Grace Revealed page, rest assured someone helped me with it. Okay? Thankfully, someone helped me with it. Instagram is my friend. I learned Instagram before because all you had to do was tap something and a bubbly heart did something. If you liked it, you just tapped it. You didn't have to do anything else. And I guess now you can comment and share stuff and there's like stories on there. I don't even know. I barely know how to do that. And now there's like a button you can push and it does Facebook and Instagram. What? Okay. Part of Grace Revealed is that I really believe in digital detox. I truly believe that leaving our phones down, and I'm proud of you guys. I didn't even have to tell you. Most of your phones are down or off, or I don't even see half of them. Like, good job. You guys are awesome. Because being present is just ignoring all those dings and pings for a little bit. But that's part of getting ourselves into a position of caring for ourselves first. So that we do self-care first because we can't give what we don't have. And this is a time of replenishment because we can't give what we don't have. And by ignoring your phone is a gift to yourself, believe it or not. Statistics show that the human at the very most can go 8 minutes without looking at their phones. 8 minutes is the max people can go.
That's funny.
Okay.
I have to share.
Go ahead, Keith.
In December of 2000, I guess 19, and back probably 5 years, so that would put it 2014, I started to work for a company called Hazard Control Technology, who supplied me with a phone till December of 2019 when I quit and returned their phone to them. So all of 2020 till probably about 2 months ago, I didn't even have a phone, cell phone or anything. So if people needed to contact me, they had to contact Lisa, and then she would give me the phone. And I have to admit that it was very grounding, shall we say, and it was kind of like, all right, well, I really didn't miss it, and now that I have one, I find that it's like I use it and do some stuff, but somebody will send me a text, her daughter will text me or something and it'll be like 2 hours that she sent the text before I even looked at it. I guess I'm not addicted into the moment of the
That's
phone.
awesome.
And I did have like a Facebook page during that time, and then part of it was my daughter lived overseas, and we couldn't really call one another, so we could just message or video chat, FaceTime video chat. So I really didn't need a phone for that, but just thought I'd share it. It's kind of funny that everybody is, when you say 8 minutes, I'm like, wow, I looked at my phone and it said your screen time this week was 38 minutes,
Wow, champion. What a great story. Thanks for sharing that. There's days I will just power my phone off. Because if I look at that thing for too long, it is intoxicating. Anybody ever feel intoxicated by their phone? I'm like, they've learned these like algorithms to like stalk you. It's weird. It's weird out there. However, the reason I share this on here is because number one, I'm not really good at marketing myself. The reality of Grace Revealed is that I started this end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Okay, it was part of the Chamber of Commerce. We had a radio advertisement. There's a whole marketing campaign for Grace Revealed where they're like, we see you filling stadiums with helping people that deal with stress and anxiety. And I'm like, cool, let's do it. I took all my savings, everything I had to pour into this foundation, and then COVID happened. And like Corey said, I'm pretty resilient. I had a whole studio in Myrtle Beach where we hosted these workshops, and then people got really afraid. And I wasn't sure if I was going to share this or not, but in all my research, which is tried and true, is that 96% of our fears never come to pass. Tried and true. I had some weird, creepy fears during COVID. Anybody else? Weird fears. And I just kept reminding myself of that fact. 96% of our fears never, ever come to pass. Ever. 96% of our fears never come to pass. The tiny little 4% that may come to pass are never as bad as we imagine. I had some weird fears, and I had some wild victories last year. So we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instachatagram. I used to call it Face Call because I didn't know there was I'm an Android user. I would be like, can we face call? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, so we could see each other. I am shamelessly like a child sometimes, but this is for a few reasons, to help get the word out, because it does me a favor if there's some takeaway and you have a positive experience, which I believe each one of us do and will if we haven't already. We're gonna have some fun, that we're gonna get some tools for change if we haven't already. But that if you're willing to, do me a favor, not now, you and your phoneless people, but maybe after, if you're willing to tag Grace Revealed or share something or follow what we're doing on the Instagram. Part of my journey I'm going to share is there were some things that happened through images that helped heal my organs when I damaged them. And so Instagram has a special spot in my heart for images that can help us. So on Instagram, I do selectively, with lots of research, put things out there, maybe once a week or so, that are an inspirational quote that have to do with self-care. All right, so that's kind of a fun one to follow. And if I remember how to do it, I get it to copy to the Facebook thing, but I don't remember how to do it half the time. There's like a button and I don't know. But Instagram's probably my favorite out of all of them. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then the website, gracerevealedllc.com. We have a YouTube channel, so there's inspirational videos I've put on there. There's the story about my life. I found a lot of healing in people's tone and demeanor, right? Anybody ever watch a YouTube video that helped them? Okay, so I've been not as diligent with putting stuff out there, but there's plenty of videos that are out there to enhance your life. Okay, let's go. Overcoming burnout. This is officially the start of session 2, overcoming burnout. And thanks for bearing with me in my little awkward attempt at self-promotion. It's not fun. I'd rather have Corey do it or somebody else that knows how to promote things. But I do value it because I want to get the word out about Grace Revealed so more people's lives can change. Okay, burnout. So I am going to tell a story. I could probably use, let's see, a couple people that are willing to stand up here and hold these for a minute or two. It won't take very long. Naomi will? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to tell you guys my story. I thought I had these in a certain, okay, this can be you, Naomi. And we'll give you that one. I'm sorry, the other Will. I used your name wrong. So Will, no, you take 2. We'll give you both 2. Will, you can go on the other side if you would to my left. And let's see. You get this one, the most awkward. Here you go. Okay, guys. You ready? You ready to hear my story? Ooh, it's not fun, but it is the truth. Okay, so this is me, Miss Layla Hartman, when I worked in commercial architecture. I had often run AutoCAD departments. I helped with standards and how to make architectural documents. They're legal, binding, contractual documents that people build from. So understanding the universal building codes. There used to be New York State codes that became universal. I worked with architects and engineers. I was being groomed to become an archineer, which is a combination of a structural engineer and an architect. And I looked happy. Truthfully, I was dying on the inside, but this is where I was before I had an adrenal crisis. Okay, so I started becoming really lethargic. There would be a couple times I was exercising, I had a really clean diet, I had a nutritionist, I've always had an unhealthy relationship with food we talked about earlier. So I was working hard to train, I was doing high intensity interval training, had a fabulous diet, lots of coaches, and I couldn't get up. One day I had what felt like vertigo, like a dizziness, and I couldn't stand for more than 20 seconds. I called in my job and I said, hey, I don't think I'm gonna make it in today. Another day went by, I could not get out of bed. I would try to get up and I would literally fall over. So, made an appointment with the ENT doctor, let's go do the tilt table test or da-da-da-da-da-da, and see if I have some vertigo, because I would get real dizzy and pass out. This led to about a year and a half of being bedridden. I ceased to be able to drive. I would drive somewhere and I would get stuck because I would black out and then I would be unsafe to drive. So I went through a boatload of testing. I was hospitalized in critical care for my heart. I thankfully passed out on a doctor. At the doctor's office, the nurse caught my head from bouncing off the floor. And they put a Holter monitor on me for 24 hours and found 8 times in 24 hours where my heart flatlined. It literally just did this on the monitor for up to 4 seconds. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. My heart was literally flatlining several times a day. I would be here and then I would collapse. So I'm hospitalized in critical care for my heart, and they had paddles on me at all times. They have these fancy things where they had like this electrical node on my leg to here that would cross that electrical pathway we talked about earlier, to shock my heart back if it went down. I was in my early 30s, okay? Working out, healthy diet, okay? I was healthy. All my blood tests were healthy. So my heart was stopping. They threatened to put a pacemaker in. And I was like, oh no. And then my brain started doing really weird things because my organs were getting bajiggity. That's not a scientific term. So I just began to weep for days. I just cried in bed. I couldn't get up. So my church friends and family, they made food for me. I paid them to go to the grocery store and put food together because I literally could not walk to the end of my driveway without support, like someone on either side of me. So you can put those down, and thank you for holding those. But that's just what my life looked like for a year and a half. It was so humbling to go from working in architecture, these killer deadlines, working for famous people. I designed restaurants all over the country. I was behind the scenes for a TV show. I was invited to do reality TV series. I was a grade A. Can you guess it? workaholic. Hell-bent on those atta girls, just wanting that sense of approval. So what happened is I had to mourn my life as I knew it. I had to mourn. I literally wept. It was wretched. After 2 weeks of that, my friends are like, can't you just take a pill and get better? My friends, I should have put that in air quotes. People I don't even talk to anymore. Because after 2 weeks, not being able to take a magical pill and get back on my feet, I learned who my real friends were and still are. Because I didn't know it was wrong. I had no idea. We knew what the symptoms were, but we didn't know what the root cause was, okay? We saw what the symptoms were. I had brain fog so bad, I thought I was nuking a hamburger in the microwave that someone cooked for me, and I would find it 2 days later in the cupboard. Because my brain put it in the cupboard thinking it was a microwave. That's humbling. That's humbling. Going from writing contracts and figuring out all these building codes and all this fancy blah, 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 blah. I couldn't even warm up food for myself. It was humbling. What I'm sharing about is burnout. What physiologically happened is my fight or flight, so the adrenal glands that sit above my kidney. Anybody, you know that feeling, right? You know when that adrenaline kicks in? Lately, my body's healing so much. I have a 3 to 6 year recovery time. I just am starting my 4th year of recovery from this. So I ended up, by God's grace, hired a holistic doctor that treated my organs because my kidney and liver function, my adrenal system was about to fail. And what happens is if your adrenal glands are completely void of adrenaline, all your organs will stop. All your hormones, it governs all your hormones. So talking your brain, heart, liver, kidney, whatever else I'm not thinking of, you'll die. You'll die. So in my research and findings, there were very few people that knew of something called adrenal fatigue. There was a woman in the UK she sounded just like me. We're about the same age. She was a big-time lawyer in the UK, and same exact story. She started an Instagram page, and she just would post things every day. Keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. Don't give up. There's hope. There's hope. Be gentle with yourself. Keep going. I wanted to die. It was so painful. There was actual physiological pain in my organs. I ended up having to go float, find a pool of water or like a hot tub, and float to give my organs a break because it was painful inside my belly to even carry around my own weight. And the doctor that worked with me said, "You're going to gain weight, just so you know, your body thinks you're dying." And I was like, okay, great. Thanks for the heads up. And I didn't care. I gained 30 pounds because I wanted to live. And I had to treat my organs. My body was going to do whatever it was going to do. But if I stayed alive, I wanted my life to be a testimony of healing. I'm taking a moment to pause because I don't see a whole lot of value in staying in the problem. Y'all got, I had a problem, right? I won't forget the day when I had a living will. I had all my passwords for my roommate, and I had a life insurance policy to cover all my belongings. and to put my body in the ground. It was scary. I'll never forget it. I did not know if I was going to wake up. I did not know. I called my pastor friend. I said, hey, I really am not sure if I'm going to wake up. Our body tells us things, does it not? You ever have a feeling like I need da-da-da-da? We could just talk about water. We all know what it feels like to be thirsty. Admittedly, this is embarrassing. In those days, because I was a workaholic, type A, get her done, I heard people say you got to listen to your body. I thought they were full of crap. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. I learned today it's a real thing because I just like to push myself. Anybody remember when you're in your 20s how much you thought you could like do in a day? I wish I could remember that feeling. Like sometimes it's just like a pastime, but I just thought I was the smartest infinite being that got so much done, you know. Blah, I was so ignorant, self-absorbed.
Shoot, I'm only 25 and I'm here right now. So
25, still alive.
yeah, but I'm already at that point with what I do where I'm just like, I gotta change, you know?
Interesting.
Already.
So 25. Thanks for sharing that. Did you guys hear? He's only 25 and already at a point he's got to change what he's doing. You have a lot of stimulation. I'm not envious. There's so much coming at you and probably from a young age.
Yeah.
Worse, it is taxing on the mind.
Yes.
There is no shame, and I give you all a permission for a digital detox to shut your phone off. And if you have to practice that old school communication, talk to your friend, make a date, and follow through on it. You need zero technology for that. Zero. Just old-fashioned communication. It is freeing.
There's just very few people that share in that with you, I think. I couldn't do that.
Yes. So I had vision for 3-day workshops like this, 3-day investment for you. And I researched all sorts of containers for phones so that in the beginning at the check-in table, you would check your phone in. And I had half a mind to bring them today, but I didn't want to send anyone into a panic. Because one day, I truly believe that will set people free. To have a safe place they can go, a safe place to let go and heal. To lock your phone in for an entire day and take care of what's going on in your mind is freedom. Healing. Any questions before I keep going? Comments? Thank you everybody for sharing so far. It's fun. I never know what to expect, you know, as we roll through. Yeah, Naomi.
How long did it take you once you were like in that really sick state, like bedridden, to like, for your mind to like find its way out?
Come back. It's a great question. So did you guys hear what she asked? She said, how long did it take for my mind to come back?
And for you to like realize, okay, I have to be in control of it, or I have to figure this out and try to heal.
So it's kind of interesting her word choice that I heard. So I heard, what do I have to figure out? What can I control? That's what I heard you say. I have to figure this out. Any smarty pants out there? Don't answer. Oh, just told on yourself. Okay, so George has a fabulous mind, right? He's smart. He's able to articulate things. He's able to find answers to things. Okay, sometimes it's really frustrating when you work with people that don't have a mind that functions on that level. Okay, so my mind was built for complex scenarios because of the childhood I was brought up in. I was groomed to have a high functioning personality and to figure things out because I was not taught a lot. I was self-taught. And I had sisters that maybe taught me things, and eventually teachers and mentors. So to answer Naomi's questions of how long it took to come out, that's kind of the second part of my story I wanted to share, but I wanted to pause for a minute if there was any other questions about the dark side before I get to the light side and what helped me walk out of that, okay? So how long did it take for me to come out of that, trying to find a good word, I'm not sure what the word is. If one of you fabulous brains out there can help me, the almost dead state. How long did it take for me to come out of this state where I couldn't even feed myself? I was at the point where I was going to start to ask for help bathing. That's humbling. So how long did it take? So I would have to guess, in short, my short answer would be about 1.5 years, but I'm still healing. So I don't know. The short answer for me to be able to function and feel safe to drive a car again, to have a job, to live on my own, about 1.5 years. About 1.5 years. Do you guys know why I'm sharing this with you? What's so important to me is that burnout's a real thing. And if you deny yourself basic needs, this is what happens. In my research, those cases that are documented medically from adrenal fatigue were found in autopsy. Okay? Marathon runners, this is a big one, they would drop dead in the middle of a marathon because they would get that one last adrenaline kick and all their organs would quit immediately. So the documented cases, majority were in autopsy of adrenal fatigue, adrenal failure. So not everyone has the same story, but this is real. Burnout is a real thing. And what I'm really excited to share is the way out, what happened. So I had all these medical doctors, they wanted to put me on blood thinners to keep my heart from stopping. And I'm like, this is just medicating the fruit, not the root. So I'm like, what is the root? How would I ever get to a point? And I'm early 30s. You looked at me from the outside, I was, little sister's got it going on. Okay, like I looked happy-ish, ish. Dark hair, dark soul, I think, at the time. I was afraid to face myself. I lived in a high level of denial because I just wanted to figure everything out. I wanted to look it up. I wanted to YouTube my way out of it. That was not the case. The beginning of my turnaround was admitting I had no answers. And I had to find someone that could help me. I had to find someone. So I found this very, very small tribe of women on Instagram. And I was able to do a face call with one gal who had survived adrenal fatigue. She'd lost everything. She was living in a camper, but she was alive. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's hope. So I kept asking, how would I ever get to this point? What is the root of this? So admitting that I didn't know was the best gift. I had to find someone that did. So I found a doctor in Noonan, Georgia, who talked about healing from adrenal fatigue and taking the weight off. I sent a hair sample. So I sent in a DNA hair sample, and he was able to go back, I think, 10 years. And he was able to pinpoint that my organs were shutting down because the whole cardio team, my primary care, the ENTs were like, something's wrong with you. It's not our territory. Endocrine people, something's wrong with you. It's not our territory. Something's wrong with you. Not not anything we can do. And my neuro team was afraid that the cardiologists were going to kill my brain. Cool. All right, that's what I had to do. So what happened was self-care. I had to start putting myself first. I had to learn how to be an advocate for myself. So I took the money I had, I sent in this DNA test. They found that my organs were shutting down. They holistically supported my adrenal glands to help give my organs a break. So they treated each organ depending on the deficiency. Meanwhile, they were holding up my adrenals to save my life. I had a heavy prescription of rest. It sucked. I was like, God, tell me what to do. And I just kept hearing this still small voice say, nothing. And I'm like, what? How do I do that? Do nothing. What do you mean? Can you give me steps A, B, and C? And it was like literally just do nothing. Anybody try to do nothing for more than 5 minutes? More than 2 minutes? Thank you, Charlene. If your life depends on it. Good response. Right. Joyce, you're my soul sister. So I had to stop. A coach that I had recommended floating in water, which I mentioned earlier, to give my organs a break. And guess what, y'all? We live by the water. I'm encouraging you to buy yourself or find a noodle, one of your favorite flotation devices. Get in a pool, phone a friend, float. You know the best thing about being in water and floating is? Who can guess? I've given you so many hints.
No cell phone.
Ha! Keith! Leave it to Keith to answer. Nailed it. No cell phone. No cell phone. And you can justify that all day long. Sorry, it was in the water. I'm giving you permission. Sorry, it was in the water. Okay? Didn't want my phone to get wet. Didn't think to look at it until I dried off, relaxed, got something to drink, had lunch.
I've seen people at the pool with their phone in the pool in a baggie.
Yeah, that's how I exercise forgiveness. That's how I exercise forgiveness. I forgive you, you're sick and addicted. I forgive you. Float. Find time. I shared this in a previous workshop because I try to make each one of these different from the last one. So I'm not repeating information that we've already shared, that I've already taught on, because I want you guys to keep coming back and bring some friends next time to know that I'm going to talk about more. I want to get back to that train of thought about how I came out of it. So I had to find people. I had to admit, I don't know. When people would be like, what's wrong with you? I just wanted to be like, I have fill in the blank. I'm struggling with this. I really don't know, guys. Here we are 3 months later. What's wrong with you? I don't know, but I feel like I'm dying. To find people that knew that could share the same symptoms and could give me hope and find the way out. So sent in the DNA test, met with these doctors virtually. Okay, this was before COVID, 2017, I think it was 2017. They started helping me with a diet to take out any inflammation. Okay, this is important for any of you. I've heard, I know Joyce is a special spot for pH balanced water and the healing in that. Somebody else, we were talking about this recently, getting the balance chemically in your body to level out. I never knew how important and how precious healthy food is to regulate my hormones and to get those, to detox. Okay, so I found out what my organs were doing with a DNA test and a doctor that specialized with adrenal fatigue. He also specialized with thyroid stuff and Lyme disease and helping people get their lives back and shed the weight. So we did that. I learned to float, digital detox, and I waited till I had courage to ask people that I felt safe with to come and spend time with me. I had nothing to give them. Any givers in the room? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. You want to give? I had nothing to give them. Not a thing. Said, want to come on over? I might drool on you. What did I have to offer? But I'll tell you, there was healing in touch. My friend Shayna moved into town. She had 2 small babies, children. They were, I think, 3 and 5 at the time. And they would come over and they would lay on my chest. I'd have one child on each side and they'd say, Layla, we love you. They barely knew me. I'm like, you don't even know me. I didn't say that, but that was part of the healing. These little children just came and laid on me. They didn't need anything from me. They didn't want anything from me. They loved unconditionally. I bought a puppy for 6 days because I felt like I was dying and I needed something warm. And then I realized I couldn't take care of it. So it got rehomed, thankfully. But there were little things. I ended up buying a big stuffed animal that I could hug. Sometimes I'll bring it to workshops so other people can hug it. Because there was healing in the touch. People would come and read scripture over me. They'd read Psalms. We prayed every Handada Shandada prayer, try to see if there was any demon to be cast out or something. And nothing worked. Nothing worked. Like time and connection with people that were present with me, that spent time with me. So we talked about what burnout is. It's shutting down, it's feeling like you don't have anything left to give, it's feeling exhausted, right? That exhaustion, that feeling like your brain is going to snap off your body. Anybody ever have that sensation where you're like, oh my God, like ding, 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 ding. The body does tell us what's going on. And then literally going to the point where you just can't keep your eyes open anymore. Okay? I put this question on here so it could just kind of be here in the backdrop. What is your body telling you? I even want you to take a minute right now and ask yourself, just have a moment with your body. What is your body telling you? What is my body telling me? I'm a little bit thirsty right now. I had a bottle of water somewhere. There it is. What is your body, right? Thank you. What is your body telling you? Anybody else? Anybody willing to answer that? Check in with yourself. What are you thinking? Anybody tired? Anybody energetic? What's that? Relaxed. Was that hand? No.
My neck and my shoulders feel so stiff from I haven't had a massage in 2 years. And with my job, I use this a lot, and I just I don't know, I noticed that yesterday. I was just I feel so tight.
Some tension.
So tight. I just need somebody to rub me.
Okay. In need of a back massage?
Yeah.
Anybody else? What's your body telling you? And then lastly, so it's important. It's important to just ask yourself that. What's your body telling you? So can I use you as an example? Thanks for sharing that. So if Will doesn't find a way to get that tension out, what's going to happen? Probably your sleep is going to get robbed. You're going to take some medicine, maybe, for the pain, dull the sense in some way, and it could end up as injury. I'm not speaking those things over you. Sure. I'm just using it as an example. So we have some tension. I used to carry a lot of stress right here. The back of my neck and between my shoulders. I would kill for somebody to just put their thumb in there and just get that little knot out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't care who it was. Put an elbow in there. Right, get that knot out, please. Thankfully, there's healthy professions that can do that for us if you don't have a friend or a mama bear or somebody around that can help you. But what happens is if we ignore the signs, it sets us up for injury. It sets us up for malfunction if we ignore the signs. So what happens if he just asks somebody for help? It's a turning point. It's a turning point. He can get some help. What's that?
It's so hard to ask for help.
Ooh. So I heard it's hard to ask for help. Some people are better at it than others, it's just reality. I have learned to be more comfortable asking for help because my life is better when I ask for help. If I try to do it all by myself, my life's a train wreck. It's the nature of it. But see, just that one example, if he went to get some help, maybe he even asked somebody, hey, can you throw an elbow in my shoulder? I use lacrosse balls and kind of lay on them to roll them out sometimes if I don't have a friend around. So to go that and kind of put my body weight, use my body weight against the lacrosse ball can help work through those knots. But it's amazing how, if you can hold that thought, it's amazing how just making a decision to ask for help or go and get you a lacrosse ball can give you some relief immediately if you make a decision to take care of yourself instead of ignoring it. Joyce.
I found out recently that taking a rolling pin on tense tight muscles really works really good.
Oh,
You have somebody that can do it for you, but if you don't and can work out the position for yourself, it really helps.
I mean, stretching is huge.
stretching.
Because I used to live with all that stress in my back for years.
I'm a big fan of the foam roller, high density foam roller. You guys seen these things? So you have to lay on the floor. You use your knees to kind of push and roll back. I always start with my neck. Going to see a chiropractor I wholeheartedly believe in that, even just for maintenance. Okay, I'm gonna move on and we're gonna try to wrap up the session. I'm really glad. For some reason, I usually feel like I'm running out of time, and this session just seems to really have a healthy flow. So I'm really glad I don't feel stress at all, actually. I feel just grateful to be here. So lastly, there's hope and healing, okay? What works for one person isn't gonna work for everybody, and that's okay. But I'm hoping that there will be something that triggers even, hey, I need to ask for help. I give you permission to ask for help. You might ask the wrong person for help. Who knows? But I'd rather see you keep asking for help until you find the answer to what is going on. Anybody ever take a power nap? Yeah. If you haven't, I give you permission. I used to have a friend and mentor, who would shame me for napping and said, well, I don't believe in naps. I'm sorry, if you've ever met a mom before, she believes in naps. Okay? Come on. Napping is a real thing. Our bodies need to rejuvenate. And I bless you, and if you need to take a nap, there's a few chairs over there. Try not to do it when I'm speaking, would be awesome, but it's a real, fatigue is crazy. Fatigue is life-sucking, guys. If anybody, I am not ignorant of how taxing burnout can be. But there's hope. There is just always a way out. And I'm going to get into this in the next section, but connection is one of the biggest tools of healing. Connection is one of the biggest tools of healing that I have ever seen in my entire lifetime. You ever have somebody that makes eye contact with you, that makes you feel like they know you and they understand you, even if you don't know them very well? You ever have that look like, you get me, girl? I'm a girl, sorry guys. You ever have that knowing, like affectionate, like, I get you. This might be a hard moment, but I get you. Those unspoken moments are some of the most profound healing I've ever received. Lee, you're back there. Lee gets me. since day one. She's got such a gentle spirit about her. It's like medicinal just being next to Lee. I appreciate you. Oh, all right. This is a book called When the Body Says No. I like to offer some resources because my book isn't done being written yet. It's in the works. This is called When the Body Says No. Gabor Mate is the author. He also wrote a book called In the Presence of Hungry Ghosts. Has anybody ever read that? In the Presence of Hungry Ghosts. It's a book about addiction and how there's like a void in us that can't be filled. So if you ever struggled with a self-destructive behavior and you can't get yourself out of it with your own willpower, I stumbled on this book When the Body Says No. It's understanding the stress-disease connection. And it had a way of describing what I went through medically that I have never found anywhere else. And let me tell you, when you are bedridden for a year and a half, you read a lot. Or I'll speak for myself, I read a lot. When I was bedridden, in and out of naps, I mean, I would sleep probably 10 or 12 hours, like combination through the night-ish. And then through the day, I would be in and out of sleep a lot when my body was shutting down. So When the Body Says No, it's a wonderfully well-written book understanding the stress-disease connection and how if you allow stress to continue, it is a setup for disease. I'm not speaking that over anyone. This doctor has a way of articulating it in a way that made sense for my story. He connected the mind and the body through stress and trauma that I endured in my childhood that I never talked to anybody about. So this was part of my way out, you guys. This is how I came out of it. When I started to see the root, I said, how did I ever get this way? And I don't remember who asked me the question, but I heard this this phrase, you may have heard me say it before, is that we're only as sick as our secrets. We're only as sick as our secrets. And I had a childhood I stomached. I never talked to anybody about what happened, but I didn't realize that that was like a secret of omission. That when I was groomed, brought up, if you talk about it, you're going to get beat. And we don't tell anybody what's going on in our home. Even when the cops were called, when CPS was called, we didn't talk about it or you're going to get beat. And I watched some of my siblings get violently beat in a lethal manner that I thank God that they're alive, but they struggle. So I realized that I needed to talk to someone about where I came from. And I didn't know who, I didn't know how. I prayed for a safe individual that would be willing to hear my story and not try to fix me. And that was the turning point. I found a woman who sat with me. She was a master's student for becoming a therapist. And we had similar trauma. And she sat and let me just gush. I think that was the longest Panera cup of coffee I've ever had in my life. And I just sat there and wept, and I told her everything I could think of. And I don't even remember how she responded, but we're still friends. She said, hey, I heard about a childhood, she said, I heard about this treatment center in Nashville. It's a workshop, 4 days you can go to. And they'll help you process your childhood trauma and give you a plan for when you come out. And I do believe that helped save my life. That helped save my life. So it's a complex answer, right? So I had this doctor, this holistic guy. I'm doing these floating exercises. Sometimes I had to have somebody drive me so I could get my floating time in because it was upstate New York. It was cold. Okay, it wasn't as easy to find water to get into every day. One of the pictures, I was in the sauna, so I would go to the sauna and try to detox It's a way to get toxins out of the body. If you Google antioxidant foods, that was a great way to practice detoxing. You know, so one of the things I didn't realize that caused inflammation was corn. I love me some popcorn, and I would eat copious amounts of it after church on Sundays. I love stovetop. I don't want to trigger anybody, but I was like, I had to break up with popcorn because it was tearing up my digestive system, and it caused inflammation. Some of the things that helped get that was anti-inflammatory, black beans. I would eat eggs, black beans, and cilantro for breakfast with a side of cucumber. Ooh, that's a good breakfast. Put some hot sauce on there if you want, a little bit. Black beans, anti-inflammatory. Eggs actually have a healthy, they promote a healthy dopamine in your brain. So there's a release of healthy dopamine when you eat eggs. I like to pay extra money for good eggs. It's a weird gift to myself that I do nowadays. I have a friend that has some chickens, so when I'm really lucky, I get fresh eggs straight from the chicken coop. Yum. Those are just little nuggets, but that's helped me a lot. So letting go of stress, this again is the way out. So it was facing the past, being gentle with myself, knowing that there is a solution. That's not saying I knew what the solution was, but there definitely is a solution. So no matter what's aching in your body right now, does anybody have any physical pain at the moment? Yeah. Ooh, we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 with physical pain. Yeah, it's real. And your body's telling you something. Yeah. So I believe that there's supernatural healing. I believe that God's love heals people. But I also believe in real practical things that can get pain out of the body. And a lot of it starts with our minds. So in the book, he talks about trauma and mini traumas. I feel like sometimes if it was before my adrenal crisis, the word trauma didn't mean anything to me. Does anybody hear the word trauma in your everyday life? Okay, one, couple, 2 or 3, maybe. So trauma is, I heard this really great definition for trauma. So when our bodies experience a traumatic event, what delineates that from like a bad day? Okay, right? Trauma and a bad day, they're 2 different things. Trauma is have something inflicted on you that you're not prepared to handle. Okay? Trauma is having something inflicted on you that you are ill prepared to handle. That's it. Anybody have real good parents that taught you how to handle stressful situations? Okay. Awesome. You are blessed. You are blessed. I did not. My parents were not great teachers. They had their own issues. I love them and bless them from a distance. But this guy differentiates between trauma, mini traumas. So I went to a workshop on PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD. I didn't even know what it was. I heard of it and I thought, that's just war vets. Not true. I heard this couple, this man, he was a military war veteran, and his wife share a story about his healing from PTSD. But he talked about the symptoms, and it described my knee-jerk reactions to life. And I just began to violently weep in this workshop. I thought, holy smokes, I just thought I was here for some daddy issues. It was like some father's love, something healing, face your dad issues conference that they snuck in a PTSD segment in. I almost threw up. I cried so hard. And my PTSD happened to be from my childhood. Things that I saw that a child is ill-equipped to process. And it left a violent mark where? On my body, in my brain. And it produced a series of cyclical self-sabotage, self-harming behaviors that I had no idea it had to do with those events. They're single events. You know what's so great? We only have our own personal lives to deal with. You're not an unending story. You have a beginning and a present. You have a beginning and an end. We're not unending. And I want to encourage you with that. It was so scary for me to be like, oh God, I have to face my past. It is what it is. It started in the 80s and now I'm here. Okay? It's okay. That's my past. And I want to encourage you, if anybody feels discouraged, that facing our past is not really, it didn't seem fun to me, but let me tell you, it was freeing. It gave my life back to find a safe, skilled person to talk through these events. And I thought, I was never meant to see that. My body was never designed to be able to handle that much stress. Okay, so now my life is delicately set up to have as little stress as possible. Not to mean I don't have stress, because I do, but I know how to manage it well, and I know where it's coming from, and I'm not afraid to talk it out with someone. Any questions or comments? There is so much healing in this room. Even as we're getting ready to take a quick break, we're going to take another break. But I want to challenge you as we take our break to connect with someone you don't know. I want to encourage you to have a moment where you're not on your phone, where you make eye contact, maybe you shake a hand, offer someone a hug if you're willing, give or receive a hug. Just have a little bit of connection with somebody that you don't know and that you feel safe with, okay? So we're going to take a minute to mingle. This is a reminder if you want to check out the website, if you want to follow us on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram. Hate it, but it is really helpful if you share the event, if you share, once we leave here too, if you're willing to kind of like post on something, you're welcome to take pictures. I did get this really fancy shirt for today, because I feel good on it. I feel good in it, and it brings joy to my soul. But that is it for session 2, unless there's any other comments or questions or feedback. So connect with somebody, mingle. If you want to grab somebody's phone number, connect. I just encourage you to at least say hello to someone you don't know. Learn somebody's name, shake their hand, give or receive a hug. And we'll be back in 5 minutes. So let's see, it's 12:07. You want to call it